All right, so welcome to Inclusion Stories Fest 2022. All of those days of dreaming, and here it is. It feels surreal to see all of you here, but so important. I just want to start by saying a big thank you to all of you for making it here today. It means a great deal to us. We are here because of the people who support us. We are powered by Bookosmia, which is India's #1 publishing platform for kids by kids. We are here because of Samvid Stories and Beyond, Wiki, Diversity and Inclusion Council, our lovely partners and schools at Early Childhood Association, Association for Primary Education and Research, Nidhi with their wonderful resources, and Club Youngistan, who always enthrall us with their enthusiasm. Thank you so much for joining us. We started Bookosmia with the idea that we wanted a platform to give every child an opportunity to feel heard. But we had to ask ourselves the questions. Were we really catering to every child? And to be honest, the answer was no. Because there are so many children who have so many beautiful thoughts, poetries, stories in their head, but they don't have the right words for them. We have children who have the words, just not the right language to express them in. We have children who express their wonderful thoughts in terms of art, in terms of science even. So why were we not having those kids over, representing them, because their thoughts matter as much as anyone else on the planet? And I'm so glad that when we got together with Mugdha Kalra, who's right over there, through her, we learned about the world of neurodiversity. When we entered the world of Madhav, that's her son, we understood for the first time how beautiful diversity is. And we wanted to take that to the next level. We want to tell people that neurodiversity is a big word, but really, what is it? It's a mix of two words: neuro, meaning of the brain, and diversity, which means the way differences are. So basically, the different ways we all think. And if we are able to understand and process this definition in simple ways, I think it's very easy to understand and appreciate that all of us have something unique to bring to this planet. And thus came about a book called Not That Different, and the whole movement called Not That Different itself. Not That Different is a children-led movement, giving every child an opportunity to understand someone who's a little different from them. The book follows 10-year-old Sarah, a neurotypical child who meets a boy called Madhav, who's on the autism spectrum for the first time. When she sees him, she's not thinking neurodiversity, she's not thinking inclusion, she's not thinking any of the big words. All she's thinking is, why is this boy different? Why doesn't he look at me? When I ask him a question, why doesn't he reply? Why does he always flap his hands? Why does he clap inappropriately? And when you look at all of these questions through the lens of a child, you understand that really neurodiversity begins with the basic questions. And that's how we wanted the whole movement to start. I'm very happy that taking that movement forward, this beautiful fest was born. And all of you wonderful people who've collaborated with us came together. And at Bookosmia, there's something that's very important to us. And that is that every initiative must be child-led. It's not important that we do all of our corporate events about neurodiversity so much in the future. When you're already 30, 35, 40, it's better to start them when you're young. Like all great things, they say the first 5 years is when your brain really develops the most. So why not start when it really develops the most? Why not start when you're at your earnest best to learn, when you're open to new ideas? And that's all there is to this idea. And I'm so glad that all of you partner with us. And who best to start this movement than the youngsters themselves? Please welcome Riva Upadhyay and Ditya Nair. They are two Bookosmians who are also fantastic podcasters who have spoken some wonderful shows. They have hosted some wonderful shows on What's on My Mind, which is India's first mental health podcast. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. So please meet 13-year-old Riva Upadhyay. She's from Delhi. She has an unquenchable thirst for reading and a passion for poetry and writing. She loves to write about history and philosophy, and please listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. She aspires to be a politician. If that's a clincher, if that's not a clincher, what is? Please welcome Riva.
Thanks a lot, ma'am.
Riva, what are your thoughts as you sit here representing so many youngsters like you around the world?
So greetings, everyone. First of all, I'm truly honored to be a part of such a wonderful event. Not That Different is a very thoughtful initiative that aims to make our generation aware about neurodiversity and inclusion. And as I sit here representing the youngsters of today, I think I speak for most of us children when I say that not many of us know what neurodiversity and inclusion is all about. When I was researching for this event, I took a short trip down the memory lane. So I remember when I was in grade first, I had a classmate who was a bit different from my other friends. He wasn't able to talk or walk properly, and he always had an attendant to help him go to the toilet and eat lunch. And all the mean boys in my class made fun of him about that, but something told me that he wasn't different. He wasn't disabled, he was just special. He couldn't speak properly, but he could draw really well. He couldn't walk properly, but now he's one of the best swimmers in our school. But that isn't the only thing that makes him so special. No matter what happens, no matter how many mean jabs the children throw at him, no matter how much people make fun of him, no matter how much people tell him that he isn't normal, he can't do all the things that normal people can do, he always smiles. He greets the teachers, he says hello to all of his old classmates and works hard. That never give up spirit is what makes him so wonderful and special. All of us view the world from a unique perspective, and it is important to understand the colorful outlook that these special children have.
That was beautiful, Riva. It takes a lot of courage to come here and share our personal stories. And the fact that you chose to come here and share your personal story, it means a lot. It sets the right tone, I believe, for this fest, for all of us to come and have an honest discussion. And sometimes the questions are going to be uncomfortable. There is no denying that. But hopefully, we'll all learn a lot and have a lot of fun going along the way. Thank you so much for that, Riva. And yes, if you are starting your canvassing early, I think you've already got a lot of your votes early in the bag. Well done. All right, and I will come back to you, Riva, but let me go on to our next speaker. That would be Ditya J. Nair. She's 12. She joins us from Bangalore. Ditya has a keen interest in books, music, and travel. She's an avid reader. She enjoys playing her guitar, and she writes a blog as well. Welcome, Ditya.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Ditya, just taking forward on what Riva said, she spoke about this classmate who felt a little different. What about you? Has there ever been a case when you have felt a little left out, or you felt that you didn't blend in? Tell us about it.
Well, a lot of times when you think differently from your classmates or you don't have the same interests as them, you are termed as different. Especially a lot of times in my school, no matter how much of a responsibility you get, people just don't want to spend time with you because they feel that, maybe you speak differently, you talk differently, you have different interests. Like more than half the girls in my class are interested in boys or they're interested in how they dress. But a lot of times I'm interested in sports or mostly about reading. So that does make me feel a little different.
We appreciate your candor, Ditya. And yes, we all have different likes and dislikes, that's for sure. And that's what makes us unique. We are not products out of a factory. We were not made in a lineup, and that's the beautiful part about life. And you guys have shared such beautiful stories. Tell me, a fest like this, what is it that you both think that you can get out of it? I'll start with Riva first. Riva, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. So in my opinion, youngsters like me will be able to learn more about specially able children, about their struggles, their perspectives, and how we can help them. So instead of treating them like they're different and excluding them from normal activities, we should embrace them with open arms and treat them with the same love and kindness that we would our best friends. We'll also learn how to embrace new perspectives, because sometimes we all have problems, understanding different perspectives, and that's why, like Vidya said, we tend to outcast people who have different opinions from us. So I think this campaign will also help young children identify different opinions and learn how to cooperate.
Lovely, Riva. Thank you so much. Vidya, what about you?
Ma'am, I feel from this fest we can be the voice of many children who, have find it difficult to speak about their issues, or, they are not ready to stand in front of a crowd or reach out to a lot of people. So I feel that we can learn more about their issues and at the same time be their voice.
I love that. Be their voice. That's a beautiful slogan that we take from here. And it gives me a great pleasure to now welcome the CEO and the founder of Bukosmia, Nidhi Mishra, my very dear friend. Welcome, Nidhi. And what do you think about our youngsters who have flagged off the event for today?
Hi, thank you so much, Archana, and thank you, Ditya and Reva, for setting the tone of this festival so well. As with everything we do at Bukosmia, this festival is for young people, by young people. It is for kids, for parents, for educators, everyone who shapes our childhood and adolescence. Because these are conversations you need to have early in life, not for the first time when you're as old as me. We need to have a lot more open minds to the concept of diversity and open doors to people who are different from you. I would only say that it's not a favor that we are doing to them by including them. We are better off when we appreciate and understand differences in others. We appreciate them in ourselves as well. Right, so you are okay to feel that, okay, I'm a little shy than the other kid. I can't talk as well. I'm not that comfortable. So I would only expect that everyone does this, not out of just pure charity. There is something amazing in it for you. We've realized it in our last 1 year, how much we at Bukosmia have benefited from it, running this movement. And the only other thing I would like to say, I know Archana covered it well, we think alike, we talk alike, is that none of this could have been possible without some amazing people and partners. I do have, for those who know me, I have an Urdu poetry affliction. So I stuff in a share here, there, everywhere. And I could think of nothing better than saying, मैं अकेला ही चला था जानिबे मंजिल मगर लोग साथ आते गए और कारवां बनता गया, which means that I started this journey alone, and by I mean Bukosmia. We piloted with an idea and people came along, and that's the force which is driving us. So thank you to everyone out there, for Nai Disha, Club Youngistan, for bringing in those neurodiverse inputs to us from the community, for Shivani, for having the belief that stories are the tool for something like this. For Dr.Swati, who believes that this is a message that is worth reaching out to so many people through the organizations she runs with thousands of schools. And for Mugdha, of course, for being the wind beneath her wings in this whole movement. So thank you so much. And I know it's a young people saying grown-ups should probably be lesser vocal and share lesser input. So I will move on quickly. We will just have a few words coming in from all the wonderful people you see on the screen right now. And I will take this opportunity to first introduce Dr. Swati, who is the president of Popat Education Network. She's a global educator with over 32 years of experience. She's possibly on every educational forum which is worth knowing about. In particular, the ECA and APER organization, which has membership of 38,000 schools across India. I'm very grateful, Dr. Swati, that you're a partner for this fest, and you're helping us increase the reach it is an awareness movement. It only depends on the reach. So if it's just 5 of us talking in a closed room, it means nothing. But if we can take this message out there to schools, to students, it makes the difference that we are looking for. So just one question, Dr. Swati, given that you are partners of the fest, and we are very mindful the schools have so much going on, especially after COVID. Why do you think this is a conversation that they should be a part of? Why should educators and students listen to the message of neurodiversity, which doesn't affect them directly, but certainly a smaller percentage? Why do you think this needs amplification?
So, namaskar, and at the onset, thank you so much for having me here. This is neurodiversity, something that has been very close to my heart for many years. As ECA and APER, we've always tried to create and advocate for right practices when it comes to schools and curriculums, etc. I think what happened in the pandemic was, because everything was online, we kind of forgot children with neurodiverse needs. They were left at home with their parents. They didn't have access to their therapy. Curriculums were not changed enough to help them adjust to the new normal. And now that schools have opened, suddenly the rush is about grades and percentages and tests. And again, they have been forgotten. Many a times I see educators looking at them as a burden in the classroom. And that kind of infuriates me, you know. And what you said is absolutely right, that you don't want to know about neurodiversity when you are 35 years old. And actually, that's what's happening in our classrooms. Teachers don't know about neurodiversity. So they're not able to handle the parents who complain about that neurodiverse child in their child's class. Why is he screaming? Why does he disturb my child, etc. If teachers were able to handle and be more sensitive, you would have parents who would understand how to have classrooms that are neurodiverse. I mean, every child is neurodiverse. It's up to us to understand that some people have different needs. That's it. So I think what you are doing is the absolute need of the hour. And I hope and pray that more educators and parents join this movement, because children to some extent can be bullies. But after that, they forgive and forget and they become friends, you know, and they learn from us, they imitate us. So I think it's us who needs to change.
Yes, that sounds fantastic. And I agree so much. I think children are very elastic in their behavior. They'll have a fight now. They'll get back together and the parents would still be holding a grudge. So we certainly need to be very aware of that. As we talk of the events in the festival, I know we have something which is a call to action for educators out there, for school leaders to share what is it that they've done to make their schools inclusive. We request all of them to come out and share those best practices. Put your heads together. We'd love to feature them with a wider audience, have you come for a podcast. So don't hesitate. Do tell us how you feel your schools were made more inclusive and what is the change that you've seen after that. Thank you so much, Dr. Swati. I'll quickly move on to Shivani now, who is an award-winning social entrepreneur. She is a storyteller, founder of Samvid Stories and Beyond and Down Syndrome Support Group India, and also very recently, I think, a fellow of the India Inclusion Summit. So Shivani, very simple question to you. Why stories? You've been working in the space of telling stories to kids for a long time. There must be something which has convinced you in your experience that this is the tool for inclusion.
Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. So nice to be here. And thank you, Nidhi. I think fundamentally what happened, what changed everything was that I'm blessed with a daughter with Down syndrome. And I remember an incident where we were playing in the backyard, and suddenly we were surrounded by a group of monkeys. Everybody ran inside except my daughter. because change is very difficult. Going from one activity to the other, transitioning is difficult. So, and there's no fear. But I had the fear, and I didn't want us to be attacked or bitten. And I tried everything. And then I suddenly changed it. I said, Shreya, do you know what happened today? You know, I was going there and I saw this, and suddenly I grabbed her attention. And I held her arms, and while I told her the story which I was making as we were moving, I got her inside the house. And this is just one of the incidents. There have been so many which have proven to me that stories can make an impact on our children with neurodiverse needs. I've been able to teach children about emotional cues, change in their behaviors, understanding concepts. I have been able to work with non-verbal adults, young adults, who could never. So there's a young boy who still comes in one of my sessions. He wears gloves all the time, so huge tactile issues. But I did a story about a roti, okay, just a simple roti. And at the end of the session itself, the story was so motivating that the young adult actually removed his gloves and made a roti, which was in 24 years of his being there, his mother has never seen him touch the atta before. So it's so encouraging. It's so impactful, the tool. And I think we haven't used this tool as much as we can. So I think I'm so honored that the children who've been listening to my stories for such a long time have today come forward and are telling stories. So I remember a mother called me up and she said, you know what, I'm sending you the video, have a look. He's saying he wants to tell it just like you. And I don't think there can be a better compliment for me. So I'm so happy these children have come forward and have made this video. Non-verbals have drawn their story, taken pictures and told their story. So each one of them wants to tell the story. So I think fundamentally what it proves is they're all the same. Inside here, they all want to be friends, they all want love, and they all want to be heard. So great platform.
Thank you so much, Shivani. I still remember the first time we spoke of the idea. We reached out to you to tell stories. And you pointed out that there are a lot of my kids who are saying, yeah, I enjoyed listening to your story, but I also want to tell my story. And that itself was a big eye-opener for me that, oh, the kids actually want to host it rather than just be listeners. So it's fantastic. Thank you for giving us that confidence.
Yeah, you guys gave us that platform, so thank you.
We're all in it together, so it's fantastic. I'm very excited to see the inputs coming in from children and parents with all kinds of stories. Like you said, there are some 3-4 lines. There are kids who have taken help from the teachers and mentors in being able to complete a 1-minute story. And the pride of the parents and the enthusiasm of these young adults and kids is simply fantastic. I would encourage everyone who listens in, all the students, please do acknowledge. I had a wonderful message coming in from a mother of a 15-year-old with Down syndrome living in Saharanpur. Shivani knows her well. And she said, acknowledgement is all that matters to us. That's all that we're asking for. I'm 100% sure these are moving visuals. Please take the time to comment, to say something nice, to express what you feel. Don't just reflect. Do express how you feel and acknowledge the effort that's gone in. All right. Quickly moving on to my very dear friend, sister, autism activist, co-founder of Not That Different, and one of the only 2 Indians on the list of BBC 100 Women last year, 2021, Mugdha Kalra. How does it feel, Mugdha? We launched Not That Different last November, and here we are hosting a month-long festival. Do you want to tell us what is the thought behind Not That Different and why is it powering this particular storytelling festival?
I get very overwhelmed when I see so many of us together, and as Nidhi said, ये karma जो है, ये कैसे इतनी जल्दी बढ़ा है, it is mind blowing, and और उस karma के बढ़ने की वजह यही है कि मुझे लगता था कि मैं अकेली सोचती हूँ जो मैं सोच रही हूँ, लेकिन मैंने देखा that there are so many of us who think alike. There are so many of us who are there to support. There are mothers like Shivani and I who are fighting the same battle and are on the same path, and there are allies, and not that different actually was just me making an attempt to reach out to the rest of the world, because as a special needs parent and as a part of a support group, I was already very protected with a lot of warmth from the special needs community. But it was also about introducing my son to the rest of the world and having him enjoy the friendships, the warmth, the empathy, and also camaraderie with the rest of the neurotypical community. And that's how Not That Different started. It's a partnership. And I look at all the bachas here and bachas everywhere as our supporters, as our ambassadors, as our allies, because if there are more of you, then I can see children like mine be in classes like yours, be in a buddy system, study together, socialize together, grow up together, and be understood. And when we are talking about neurodiversity and looking at 1 in 7 number, I think everyone is going to be meeting a neurodiverse person sooner or later, right? So that was the idea with which we started Not That Different. And stories are something that we found in our multiple discussions when Archana and Nidhi and I would sit, and we would talk about what are the common things between our children. And one of the things we always touched upon was how stories make a difference, and how every child enjoys stories, and how also we use stories, social stories, to explain a lot of things to our children. Like Shivani said, हम concepts पढ़ाने के लिए stories का इस्तेमाल करते हैं, हम चीजें सिखाने के लिए stories का इस्तेमाल करते हैं, हम expression देने के लिए stories का इस्तेमाल करते हैं, कि जो इतने सारे हमारे semi verbal या non verbal बच्चे हैं, वो stories के जरिए और stories जो कि केवल spoken stories नहीं है, written stories हैं, drawn stories हैं, picture books के साथ होती हैं, how they are communicating using those stories, how they are perhaps telling somebody what may be happening with them emotionally, physically, via stories, how they relate with a character, and that character becomes them. And so storytelling is a powerful tool. And then, of course, a part of the festival is also us as storytellers, us moms and dads and parents as storytellers, how we talk with our community via our stories. And so Inclusion Stories Festival came about, and as we are now seeing it, we are having a grand launch. We have so much support and so much love, and I'm really looking forward to this month of sharing and enjoying many stories in many forms.
Thanks, Mugdha, and totally agree. I think just listening into the stories is such a fantastic way of knowing without being looked at like a brochure or an information document. As you will watch these videos from neurodiverse kids, you'll realize no two kids with autism are exactly the same. You will make those inferences on your own. No one will have to come and tell it to you. You will see that a child with autism is different from a child with Down syndrome. You can't assume that, okay, some kid I met with autism doesn't speak. That means the Down syndrome kid also doesn't speak. You will realize it's different. And I think that's where the power of stories, when you're wrapped in attention and listening, but your mind is consciously making notes, that I think is a wonderful way to inform. So glad. I'm really looking forward to starting our stories from 2nd of August, marking Friendship Day, encouraging everyone to please listen in, write notes to each other, tell us what you felt, make new friends. It would be a fantastic experience. And now I will just quickly get in Archana, who always shies away from an introduction herself. Archana is my co-founder at Bookosmia. She's also an award-winning author at the Commonwealth level, which is a fact only I keep parroting. She somehow never wants to bring that to the focus. And she's an absolutely fantastic master of all trades colleague that I could have asked for. So Archana, do you want to talk us through what all we have in the list of events for this fest? I will bring it up on the screen.
Thank you, Nidhi, for such a warm introduction. And it was so wonderful to hear all of you speak, Dr. Swati. Every time you speak, we have loved your podcasts, whenever you've come on, and this was beautiful as well. Shivani, so nice to connect with you, and the kind of support you've given us, the kind of suggestions together we have come up with this fest. It's been a beautiful process working with you. Of course, Mugdha, I don't want to say any more words. I think a lot of she's just brilliant. That's all I would like to say. Just while we wait for Nidhi to share the schedule for us, I want to say that this entire month is all about all of us, and we all have a chance to participate in the way we best like. So what's on? First of all, from 2nd August onwards, this is what we are most interested in. We will be publishing one story a day by our lovely youngsters. They're all neurodiverse, and they have beautiful ways of expressing themselves. We have videos, we have art, we have stories. And I have to say that at the back room, while we're reading them, we are loving them. And I'm sure you will too. As Nidhi already said, that, a few words of encouragement and putting your thoughts, your feedback would go a long way. Because many of these youngsters are actually submitting their videos or participating in such a fest for the first time ever. So let's rally together, give them the support, and of course, have fun doing all of that. And here we go with the live events on 30th July, that is Saturday. We have our first exciting panel, that is today. We finish that, and we have 6th August, that is next Saturday. We have writing stories on inclusion with children's author Lavanya Karthik. Lavanya is a writer of many wonderful books like the Ninja Nani series, but also books like A Walk with Thambi, which explore neurodiverse characters. And all of our youngsters who are on this panel are under the age of 12. They are vigorous readers and writers, and they want to speak about how to include a child who's different in their writing. That should be a very interesting panel, and I would urge all of you to attend and come prepared with your questions as well. After that, we have on 13th August, this is being led by Mugdha Kalra, a very, very special panel of why stories of special needs parents matter. We plan to bring you wonderful perspectives from different parents, what they feel, why is it important for special needs parents to speak about. Mugdha, of course, comes from a world of knowledge, a lived experience, but also the wonderful wealth that she has acquired over the years of meeting people who have special needs, and all of that will be on the table. We next have on 20th August, books on inclusion. How did they fare? We see so many books that have inclusive characters. We see so many movies that have inclusive themes, but really, are they doing it right? And it's not us, it's the audience. This panel will be held by youngsters 12 to 15, and knowing the crowd, I'm sure it's going to be a riot. So do join in for that. And of course, give your suggestions on what you think are inclusive books and movies as well. That goes a long way. From 10th onwards, here we do. All our school leaders, we have a wonderful community of schools thanks to our ECA network, and we invite all of those schools to come in and do this. What are the 2 things you did to make your school more inclusive? These tips we will share on social media and on our website through videos, through text, and have every school come in with their input. Let's share our views, and let's share so that everyone gets to know all of these different views and implement them into our schedule. 15th August onwards, we plan to start something called as neurodiversity ambassadors. What is a neurodiversity ambassador? This is for all of our neurotypical youngsters logging in today and who will be watching this. What are the 3 things post attending the fest, post listening to all of these wonderful conversations and videos and stories? What are the 3 things you didn't know that you learned? What are the 2 things you will change going forward? and tell us one message you have to a neurodiverse storyteller friend. This is open to all of our neurotypicals. Come on in, share your thoughts, and get the badge of becoming a neurodiversity ambassador. And finally, on 27th August, we have another wonderful panel, which is led by Shivani, which is a panel with Meridisha, Club Youngistan, and Samvid founders, in which they speak about how it is for a neurodiverse youngster to come up and share their stories. And that should be wonderful for all of us, because as we know, coming up in the public speaking is not something that's restricted to a few. A lot of us have these jitters when we speak in public. Even the best public speakers always speak about how, inside they have these butterflies in their stomach. So let's come on in and discuss and share our thoughts on it. And finally, we will culminate on 30th of August with Choice Awards of the best books on inclusion by Not That Different, voted by kids, selected by kids, and presented by kids as always. And that should be very interesting for all of us. So that is the schedule. On the chat, you will see the link of what it is of our website. Please feel free to participate in all of these events. You can also reach out to us at ntd@bookosmia.com and reach out to us on our number for any questions you may have. Over to you, Nidhi.
Thanks, Archana. So a lot of things packed in there and a lot more to come, because like we were saying, there are people still writing into us, organizations saying we want to be a part of this. We are going to have some sports stories from athletes who come from a world of diversity. Come and share it with all of us here. Athletes who are playing at the national level. We have partners from across the world writing in to say, this sounds fantastic. We want to be a part of it. So there would be a lot more packed in this 1 month. Really looking forward to everything being done. Yeah, go ahead.
Nidhi, if I could just request, I just got a story, and that's the reason why I was just thinking if you could share it. Just got.
I've given you access, Mugdha. Now try.
So I was trying to reach you girls, but I couldn't.
No worries. Go ahead. And maybe in this much time, while Mugdha is pulling that up, any questions, suggestions, people, please shoot them on the chat. We can quickly take it up, whether it's with this panel here, the people talking, or anything else you want to share.
Can you guys see this?
Yes.
All right, so I just got permissions from Rishan Patel, and I just thought that it will be a great start to the festival. He has spoken about his sensory issues via a story, and that is the story that he is giving to us along with another one. So while we will put this story on our portal as well, here's one story that I thought I'll play so that it sets the mood and tempo for the festival. Just a second.
Hi everyone, I'm Rishan. Today I'm going to share a story about the girl with the big ears. Once there was a girl called Sally. She was 12 years old, pretty with curly hair. She loved to wear dresses. Sally loved to cycle, play ball, jump around in the park and go to parties. Sally had big ears like Ganpati. She liked listening to Ganesh Aarti and lots of music. But everything sounded very loud because of her big ears. Ants talking, bzzz, pigeons burping, and even cats farting. Psst. So the sound of thunder used to really scare Sally. Sally's ears would pain and turn red. Ah! One day Sally saw from the window that the clouds had become black. She saw on the news that there was going to be a cyclone. Sally felt very, very scared and started crying. She started praying to Ganpati, please stop the thunder noise. But it started raining and there was thunder and lightning. Sally hid under the blanket. Her ears started flapping. Frp, frp. Badoom! There was thunder. Hadoom! Sally fell down from her bed. So did her headphones from under the temple. Sally got an idea and wore the headphones. They were big enough to cover her big ears and cancel all the noise. Sally played Chug Doom Doom, the rain song, and started dancing. She was not scared anymore. Now she went down to the garden and did a rain dance on Chum Chum Chum. All the children in the building saw this and also joined her. They all danced on Barisore. Barisore Mega Mega. They all had so much fun. Sally was no longer scared and even took off the headphones. They danced like the thunder was playing drums. Dum 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 dum. Now every time there was rain, Sally had a rain dance party, and so did her big ears. Thank you. Did you like my story? Don't forget to like, share, comment.
So yeah, that was our little storyteller, and I hope you all enjoyed that story. I thought it was really nice, and which is the reason why I thought we will squeeze that story in.
No, it was fantastic and such a clear example of how much you can learn from a story. I remember in a comic book, we spoke about why some kids wear headphones. And if you were just supposed to sit someone down and say, because they hear sounds, they're louder, they're not this, that, and this was fantastic. I think anyone listening into it will always remember. So thanks for showing this. Amazing. So any questions, comments, or something that you want to pick up with any of us on the chat? Otherwise, I'm just going to take a quick 2 minutes and go around the table with everyone here and tell us that one thing that you think will make this fest a success. How would you have that metric? We're going to run it for a month's time. What could be that one thing which we can measure or see and witness and tells us that we actually achieve what we set out to? Dr. Swati, I would like to start from you.
I would also like to share that ECA has also come out with 2 books on, 3 books actually on inclusion. And I just saw that you have awards. So we are going to definitely apply for the awards also. One of our books is this. It's called Why Do Jay and Sashi, Why Do Words and Numbers Confuse Jay and Sashi? It's about dyslexia and dyscalculia. And we've written another book about a giraffe who doesn't have spots. So that book talks about physical differences. And we've come out with a book for like a handbook for schools to use with their teachers to understand what is actually inclusivity. So when you talk about the impact of your entire festival, I would say if schools even took away 2 things that they can do in their classrooms with any age groups, I think that would be a success of this festival. And I think in every session, if you all can highlight any 2 things, you know, whether it's coming from a student, whether it's coming from a teacher, and whether it's coming from a parent. And I always feel that it's the parents that we need to reach out to, because I've noticed that it's only the parents who have somebody who's diverse in their own homes who are involved in this movement. I think we now need parents from every house to be involved in something like this. Because, you know, it's when we say it takes a village to raise a child, you can't just have some members of the village participating. We need to have the entire village have that empathy for all children, irrespective of their needs, their way, their behavior, etc. So it's very, very important that if 2 things, just 2 things schools can implement, having been inspired from this festival, I think that would be something that will go down in history, that yes, schools can say, we learned this and we started practicing this. And it shouldn't be just on paper. We should be able to see it in the classrooms.
Sounds fantastic. I think we must have those two takeaways, like you say, after each session, shared widely and waiting for people to write back and tell us, did they implement it? Did they execute what some other school has rolled out as process or a policy? So thanks for that, Dr. Swati. I think it's very important for us to clearly measure, have a clear metric when we get into something. So I'm grateful to look at responses from this group.
As Shivani said, that the impact of her stories, she was able to see it in a few people. And that's what we want, that we should be able to see an impact, that somebody changed their ways, or somebody changed the way they thought, or somebody took an idea and implemented it in their class. And it's very, very important that there should always be something to take away from a festival or a conference or a workshop. Otherwise, people have just become certificate gatherers. They just want to, I attended that. But, what did you take back? That is very important.
Absolutely. So true. Thank you, Dr. Swati. Shivani, what about you?
So I think for me, I'm just super excited with the number of entries that are coming in. I'm just so happy that children are opening up and they're ready to express themselves. They're ready to communicate. And if I can just pick up the example of what Mugdha showed, the video that Mugdha showed, the boy had a modulation of tone in his story. He had actions, he had sounds, he had everything that a story needs. So it just proves the point that they can do it, and they can. I mean, even some things and stories are not easy to tell. You really need to have a knack to tell a story and to be able to engage your audience. And I believe this boy was able to engage all of us here. We were all smiling. We were all, waiting to see what happens next. And I'm also very happy that parents are opening up to the idea of storytelling. So for parents, therapies are very stressful. They keep jumping from one center to the other. And it's always very goal-based, right? You have to achieve this goal by the end of this month. It's all there on paper. Now, if you haven't achieved it, it's discouragement for not just the child, but for the parent as well. But with stories, you can literally do all kinds of therapies within a story. You can do physio, you can do a bit of OT, you can develop language and speech. Everything can be done through stories, and it's an organic development. The progress is organic. It's not forced. It's all fun. So I'm very happy that parents are opening up to this idea of storytelling as being a very, very important therapy, So that's I think for me, that is the big takeaway from this festival.
Right. And if I could just add on to that, so we have amazing entries coming in. You can see the effort behind it. For me at Bukosmia, I'm not that different, given that our audience is to get neurotypicals aware. What we are hoping to do, we already have some inputs coming in from our audience. Every story that we put out there from a neurodiverse kid will have one comment or even just a one-liner from a neurotypical child. I feel if even one child gets to know or is exposed to this world, which they would perhaps not through school or through their parents, it's, for too many of us, it's not our business, not a problem. But if we could make that difference, every story which is coming in here is absolutely fantastic and a great metric. But also, what are our kids doing with it? Are they engaging? They must listen in, and I'm sure they'll have a lot of takeaways from even that one story. What about you, Archana? What do you think would be a good success factor for us?
I think we've already started great. So let's, we put the right foot forward today. Lovely video that we saw from Mugdha Sharif. It's really set the tone for us to say that, every child is welcome to share their stories. Sometimes we fail to think that we always think stories have a certain form. They have certain elements that need to be included, but really stories are the way you make them, because it's your story. So it's unique to you. So go ahead and share the stories that you want to share in the way you want to share it. The moment we understand that story is just an extension of us and our creativity and our passion, it takes a new form. And for me, that is going to be, the future. When our youngsters come in and share, and our neurotypicals also come and share, it's not going to be neurodiverse or neurotypical anymore. It's just children sharing stories.
Absolutely. I think that in itself is a great thing to look for. What are the diverse expressions that children are sharing with us? It could be told in as a story. It could be written. There is some fantastic artwork we have received from people. There are just 2-line stories from someone who's put the effort. So I think that whole diversity, even the range that is there in expressing yourself, is a great thing to look at. So that's a great idea. Mugdha, what about you?
Well, I'm looking at this as a chicken soup for inclusion. And so I'm really looking forward to these heartwarming stories. They make my day. It was such a simple story about noise sensitivity. And I don't really have to explain it to another child. I'm sure so many kids who are here now understand what perhaps it meant for this child who has noise sensitivity issue. And so I'm looking for those stories, and I'm looking at, my God, a huge resource pool that we are now going to create with these stories, and maybe then send these stories across to other schools and other parents, who get inspired. So for me, one of the yardsticks would be if this festival is in any way able to push parents. ये जरूरी नहीं है कि आप अपने बच्चे की कहानी जो है वो किसी प्लेटफॉर्म पर डालें या किसी को भेजें. ये बहुत जरूरी है कि क्या आपका बच्चा वो स्टोरीज के जरिए आपसे बात कर सकता है या दूसरों से बात कर सकता है. Can they use these stories as a way of expression just for themselves? And if I think we can inspire kids and parents to do that and come together, I think that will be something for me, which will be a great moment of joy.
Absolutely. And we are so excited that we are getting all these people together they're not in silos anymore. It's not like a story by neurodiverse kids is only going out to that community, or that our neurotypicals are getting published and have no exposure to what the other world is doing. So we're very excited. The fest is a coming together of people, everyone engaged, involved in children, childhood, adolescence. So really looking forward to building those bridges. I see some wonderful comments coming in on chat. This recording would be up on YouTube. Please do share, watch again, whatever is your takeaway, we'd love to hear. If there's nothing else, I'm very excited to launch this fest, and go ahead now, close the conversation. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for everyone who's joined in. There are some private comments to me. I will respond to you. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you, Dr. Swati, for making time for this. Shivani for running this for us. Mugdha, as always, you are very clearly, the three of us have been organizing all kinds of things, and this is a beautiful culmination to what we could lead to. So fantastic. Thanks everyone for joining in. Enjoy the festival. Keep your comments coming in, please. All right.
Hi, sorry, I just wanted to ask for the further ones. We are going to get a Zoom link or something. How is it?
Yes. So there is, let me just ping the website link, and all events have a link below. There are Zoom links mentioned right there. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
It's on the chat.
On the website, we'll get it, right?
Yes. And we're also
on the chat. You can have a look.
And they're all for like 1 hour, 2 hour. What's the duration, if I know?
Nothing is more than an hour's time. We have been told by our young people, they stop listening after 40 minutes. So we try to keep everything within that.
Yeah, true. Okay. Thank you so much. Right. It was really nice. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining in. All right. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
See you soon again. All right. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks.
Thank you, Samrita. Thank you, Riva and Nidhi.
Thanks a lot, ma'am.